What up, everybody? It's time to do another knife review. This is going to be a little bit different. These knives are not typical of my collection. They are part of my collection and they are very dear to me, but they are not the type of knife that I generally go for. And we're talking about case knives. I'm sure you've already seen from the title. And I've got two case knives in my collection. One is an older case knife and one is a newer case knife. Case knives goes back to, God, I don't even know. I don't know a lot about case, but I believe the late 30s, early 40s is when case knives started. I could be wrong about that. If I am, please let me know. But I've been around and aware of case knives my entire life. I've grown up in the Southeast, in a rural area. It's an agricultural area, and I couldn't turn around in a circle and throw 3 rocks without hitting 6 farmers. And every one of them has got a case knife in their pocket. So I've been around case knives my whole life, and while I've not had a great deal of interest in them personally, I have been around them. And then when I worked for Smoky Mountain Knife Works, they have an incredible case knife counter. This is a big square counter with a center display section in it that, my God, I don't know, it's 30 feet long by 10 or 12 feet wide. You know, this big square counter, so you're looking at probably 40 to 60 feet of display space for case knives. So if you are interested in case knives, if you live anywhere in East Tennessee or are ever here vacationing, stop in the Smoky Mountain Knife Works and check them out. You'll be hard pressed to find a bigger selection of case knives, I would imagine. Okay, so anyway, let's go into my case knives, and I've got 2, like I say. We're going to do the older model first, and this knife actually belonged to my grandfather on my dad's side of the family. And this man, I did not have the chance in life to get to know him. He passed when I was much too young to have any interest in getting to know anybody old. So this knife really is my sole connection to him. Now we're talking about a man. My grandfather was from Lebanon in the Middle East, and he was part of a Christian family in that area. And if you know anything about the Middle East, Christians are persecuted in the Middle East. At certain times, they're just outright murdered because of their belief. So my grandfather, at 14 years of age, stowed away on a merchant ship, headed, he didn't even know where, probably, and it obviously came to the United States. He couldn't speak or read or write English. When he was discovered on the ship, he was put to work. The crew of the ship taught him a little bit of English, taught him how to write his name, and that was about it. And then the next thing you know, he's in the United States. So, you know, this is a man from the Middle East. He was familiar with knives. Knives are part of the culture there, just the same as they are anywhere else, and have been for a long time. Talking about going back into Old Testament biblical times. So these people, they're no strangers to knives. Now, how this case knife ended up in his collection, I don't know. And what the knife is a 6.2 4.4. That's a 44 model. This is a medium Stockman. This one is a 2-blade, the 6.2 4.4. And it is a square bolster Stockman. This knife is, I don't know the exact year it was made. I do know that it was made between 1965 and 1969. It is in extremely good shape. It is God, it is beautiful. Every metal on it has patinaed. The nickel has a patina. The chrome vanadium carbon steel blades are patinaed. The bolsters are patinaed. The back springs are patinaed. The bone is just exquisite. It's in a red bone, although it looks more brown now. In a red bone, a jigged bone, and then it's got the simple oval case stamped shield on it, which is also in nickel silver. So what you've got is you've got nickel silver here, nickel silver bolsters, brass pins. You have brass liners. The back springs are in the chrome vanadium, the carbon steel, and the blades, the main blade, which is a clip point, is in carbon steel. They're chrome vanadium. And then the secondary blade, the pin blade, also, of course, in the chrome vanadium. Both of these blades still have great snap in the back springs. They're actually in pretty decent shape. He obviously did not use this knife a lot, and I sharpened the knife because it had been used and it was dull, and I don't have this knife for resale value at all. So, it had a little bit of rust on it, a little bit of pitting beyond just patina. I did lightly buff just the rust off, leaving as much patina as I could on the blades. And, I tried not to rape it any more than I had to, just to keep it from degrading any further. Like I say, both the blades have great snap to them. They're both in good condition. They have been sharpened, but I have no idea why my camera is going in and out of focus like crazy. Maybe the camera just doesn't like case knives. I don't know. But this was my grandfather's knife. This is the older case that I have. This model of medium Stockman, the overall length with the clip blade extended is 5 3/4 inches. Just the handle length is 3 1/4, so that puts your clip point at 2.5 inches to the bolster. The smaller pin blade is 1 5/8 inches to the bolster. So it's a small gentleman's pocket knife, an old timer's pocket knife. And like I say, it does have jigged bone. The bone on mine is just beautiful. I'm pretty sure it started out as red jigged bone and is just faded to brown. It is almost the same color brown as the brown Delrin that Case uses a lot. But they didn't use Delrin in this period of knives anyway. You can see, you know what? I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this bone, now I have rubbed it down with Tough Glide just to inhibit any rusting and corrosion, but the bone soaked up that Tough Glide and it just gave it this really rich, really dark look that it's pretty unique the way it reflects back light. It gives it almost translucent type of quality. It just looks very, very rich right now. And the only damage I see on the handle scales themselves, both of the center pins, the bone is cracked at the center pin. That's the only damage that I see, and that happens on just about any bone-handled case knife that has this pin location so close to the edge. I mean, you can see how close to the edge of that scale that pin is located. I don't see how it couldn't crack. But overall, this knife is in beautiful shape. I don't carry it. It's not the type of knife that I carry. I'm more into modern bearing pivot, tactical flipper folders. Lots of titanium and lots of high-end stainless steels and and carbon fiber and, modern stuff like that is my thing. But like I said, this is my only link really to my grandfather, Ralph Baz. And God rest his soul. I hoped I get to speak to him again one day. Anyway, that's the 6244 medium Stockman, also known as a jack. The model is not jack because there's an actual different model. It's called a jack, but it was sort of known as a jack. All right, the second knife I want to talk about is a newer case. This is a Russlock, and this model was introduced in 2000 as Case's answer to a more modern knife design. It's typical Case build, but the difference is this is a liner lock knife. All right, that was something that was pretty radically different for Case at the time, year 2000. Now this knife is patterned after a discontinued pattern called the jack, and that's this body shape here. It does have the extended tab like a barber's razor. So for you guys that like those sort of barber razor inspired friction folders, you may like this, even though it's a lock-in knife, a liner lock. Now this is a newer case. It is in stainless steel. It is not in the carbon steel. It's in stainless steel, and I honestly I couldn't tell you what Case's stainless steel is. It's probably like a 420. It's something that takes a very high polish. It doesn't hold an edge very long. But again, this is another knife that I'm not going to carry or use. It still has the factory edge on it. And I bought this knife. This is a 2002 model. I bought this knife as a gift for my dad in 2002. It was a, sort of a special run. It's in a cranberry jigged bone, and that's sort of faded out over time. It's not real bright anymore, as their color bones tend to do. And this is a silver script model. And obviously you can see why it's called a silver script model, because the Case name and the double X are inlaid in nickel silver into the handle, and we'll get up real close on that. It's actually pretty decent work. It's in there tight. It's not there's nothing raised up to really catch your hands on, and that's inset into this jigged bone. So I would imagine that Case actually had to put a lot of effort into developing the techniques they used for this. Because typically when you see an inlay like this, it's going to be into a smooth surface. It's not going to be into a very rough jigged surface. And you can see that is pretty clean work right there. And this may or may not be even the best example of it. It's just one in a million of them that I just happened to buy. Now, the Russlock, the dimensions on the Russlock are, the overall length is 6 1/4 inches. The handle length is right at 4 inches. On the blade is 2 3/4 inches from the tip to the bolster. The cutting edge is 2 3/8 inch. It is, I believe that is a hollow grind, but it's extremely, extremely shallow. It may be a flat grind, guys. Now that I'm looking at it, it looks more like a flat grind. But it gives you a very thin edge, and of course the stock on these is not that thick anyway. So it does give you a very thin edge, and I imagine it's a great little pocket knife. Now this knife I do carry occasionally. This is the knife that I carry when I need to have something down in my pocket, something smaller. So I'm saying to weddings, to funerals, to events like that, I'll use this type of knife. And it has been carried, although, typically in those events it's never used unless somebody's just got a thread hanging off of their clothes. But these silver script models I thought were very interesting. The other models just have a basic shield inlay, and I thought the silver script was just above and beyond that in workmanship and showmanship. So that's the reason I got this. Now, the Russlocks are done in nickel silver bolsters, and they're highly polished, you can see. Nickel silver pins, I believe, although the pins may be stainless. I know that in this particular model, the liners and the liner lock are stainless. So actually the pin material might be stainless, or it might be nickel silver. I would imagine it's nickel silver. Now, it's a pretty decent knife. Like all cases, it's the fit and finish is pretty decent. It's highly polished. Everything, the joints are pretty even. It's not custom slip joint quality, but it's pretty decent. Case does a pretty decent job overall on these knives, especially considering their volume output. I mean, God, they make a lot of knives. Who knows how many knives they churn out a day from their facilities. But they do a very good job on it. All right, well, guys, I just, there's not a lot for me to say about these knives. Classic case. Classic older case, 65 to 69. And it's just, I just look at those back springs. The back springs and the brass liners are both patinaed. That is just awesome. Any of you guys that love brass and copper and carbon steel and love natural patinas, everything that's on this that is patinaed is a natural, it got carried and used patina. This is not forced patina right here, guys. This is some natural stuff. And as is befitting on this age of knife, 2 more years, this knife will be 50 years old at the minimum. That is if it's a 1969 model. It may be a 1965 model for all I know and already be 50 years old. It's just a beautiful, beautiful little knife. That's one that'll stay in my collection forever. Forever. I don't know a lot about case knives. Like I say, these are the only 2 case knives that I have in my collection, and may or may not ever buy another case knife. I don't know. Like I say, it's not typically what I go for as far as carry. I don't look at the older style slip joints as being heavy duty work knives because they don't lock. The blades don't lock on them. The Russlock, it is a liner lock, but it is not, it's not a super heavy liner lock. You've got this tab that sticks out that makes it easy to undo, because you got to remember, majority of the guys that are into these are a little older. That tab right there may help them to unlock the knife. It's a pretty decent knife. I love the little tab here. The opening tab that looks like the barber's razor, I always have liked that. That's what initially attracted me to the Russlock when I bought it. Anyway, guys, I just thought that I would throw these out there as sort of an offering to the gentlemen that aren't into the tactical knives. Because that's pretty much all that I have on my channel is modern utility and tactical knives, whether they're folders or fixed blades or whatever. So I thought I would throw this out there. At least give these 2 encased knives at least 20 minutes of respect. Talk a little bit about my grandfather and his knife. Talk a little bit about this Silver Script series Russlock. You know, they're two neat knives, no matter how you look at them. And that's really, guys, that's about all I have to say about them. All right. Well, once again, thank you for taking the time to view one of my videos. God bless all of you. You get a chance to get your grandfather's or your father's knives, you get them, guys. Get them and hold on to them. Don't let them go, even if they're not what you're typically interested in, because one day they will matter to you. All right, guys. You have a great day.